Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a 1-year update on my tongue piercing. So about a year ago, roughly, give or take maybe like a week or so, I got my tongue pierced, and if I still have pictures, I'll try to insert pictures of what my tongue looked like throughout the healing process, but I will also link either up here or down below the videos that correlate with like my 1 week update, once I got it, all of that stuff. But a year has passed now. I've gotten very used to talking with it in, I've gotten very used to how it feels, and so I thought I would share with you guys what has progressed, I guess, or what has changed in terms of my tongue piercing. So when I first got my tongue pierced, I was very swollen. Like, I started swelling almost immediately because, I mean, your tongue is a very thick muscle. Like, if you jab something in it, like, and especially all the way through it, it's gonna be an ordeal when it heals. So I had this wound in my mouth basically, and I was trying to talk and I couldn't really because my tongue was so thick. So I just felt like I was blabbering, and then when my tongue started to de-swell, I guess, I could kind of speak normally, but I kind of had a lisp. So I eventually got used to all of that and everything has gone really smoothly. Right now I will show you guys the tongue ring or tongue bar that I have in. So that's what it looks like. Obviously I have plenty of space now in my tongue bar, but not too much space. That was the issue that I had with the tongue bar that they had pierced me with, is that it was really long, very clunky in my mouth. I would bite it all the time, which is not good for your teeth. And so what I ended up doing, as soon as I was able to change my tongue piercing out, is I switched to an acrylic bar and acrylic balls. So the top and the bottom balls are both acrylic, and so is the bar. So if I bite on it when I'm eating, which doesn't happen often anymore, but if I do it, it doesn't hurt as much, and also it's less likely to damage my teeth. And the only reason why I sometimes will bite on it is because I will have either like a lot of food in my mouth, so I'm trying to chew all this food and I can't really feel where my tongue ring is, and so obviously your tongue helps you chew, so my tongue ring kind of gets like, you know, pulled up like that. I'm spitting everywhere, but my tongue ring kind of gets pulled up, and then it gets kind of mixed in with the food, and then before I know it, I'm like chewing on my tongue ring. And I feel it, and I'm like, feel it in my teeth, and I'm like, ow, like I need to slow down. So that happens periodically, not a big deal. Obviously, I've very well adapted to speaking. I'm very used to speaking with a tongue ring in now. Most of the time, like, I don't even really notice it. Sometimes I forget that I have it, but I do often play with it, which I wouldn't say is a bad thing. I think it just depends on how you play with your tongue ring. So I used to, now that I have an acrylic bar and I've switched to an acrylic bar, I used to chew on my acrylic bar, which is not really a great thing for the bar or for your teeth. But since the bar is flexible, it's bendy, it's made out of plastic, it's chewy, you know, and it was kind of like an oral thing, like an oral fixation thing, like I wanted to chew on it, and so I did, and that ruined a lot of my tongue bars, at least my acrylic ones. And so for a while I just had acrylic balls and then a metal barbell, and that worked for a little bit, but then I got bored with it. I don't know, I just decided to switch back to acrylic, to an acrylic barbell, and just told myself, like, don't chew on it. So I've had this one in for a long time now. It's kind of my go-to tongue ring because it's black. I feel like it kind of goes with everything. Occasionally I'll switch it out, like if I'm like St. Patrick's Day, I'll wear like a green one, you know, or something like that, you know, like 4th of July I'll wear like a red, white, and blue one. But I don't have any like crazy looking barbells or tongue piercings or tongue rings or whatever. It's just the standard like ball, you know, like that's just my standard. go-to for my tongue piercing. I really like the black one. I think it suits me just fine. I don't really change it that often, and I've kind of considered taking it out just because sometimes I get annoyed with it. Sometimes I'm like, I mean, like, the novelty of it's kind of worn off. It's nothing special anymore. Like, there's no real purpose for me having it, you know, it's just for me. And I do think I'll take it out eventually, but I don't really see a need to take it out. It hasn't done any damage to my teeth. It hasn't chipped any of my teeth. And it was weird because I went to the dentist a while back because I had to get a tooth pulled, because that's like a whole other story. But anyway, I had to get a tooth pulled, and they were, you know, inspecting my mouth, and the lady, the dentist assistant, told me, you know, tongue rings are really damaging because dentists hate them. Like, they just hate them. Because they think that they're really bad for your teeth. They're not. Like I said, it depends on if you play with your tongue ring and how you play with your tongue ring. So for me, when I like play with my tongue ring, I usually do this. Or I'll do like the top. So I'll take the bottom one and I'll play with it that way, or I'll take the top one. And that's like the extent of like my tongue piercing, you know, shenanigans, I guess. I don't bite on them. My teeth don't touch, you know, the tongue ring when I play with it. It just touches my lips. And so, you know, it's not really doing much damage to my teeth. And also where it rests perfectly, like right under there, and then it rests on the roof of my mouth. So it doesn't rest like in behind my teeth or anything like that. So there's no reason for like gum recession or tooth damage or anything like that. Like I said, I have bit it a couple of times, but I think the acrylic balls do a lot more good than biting on like a metal ball. So I do like having the acrylic balls in. I mean, it's still not good for you. You still shouldn't, you know, bite it, but, you know, accidents happen, stuff happens. You might accidentally gnaw on it. So I think acrylic balls are your better option if you are, you know, considering getting a tongue piercing and keeping it for a long time. Also, my dentist, so I was at the dentist, I was going off on a tangent. I was at the dentist and she told me, you know, tongue piercings are like biting on an apple all day long. And I'm like, okay. Like, no, not really, because if you're pierced correctly, your tongue piercing should sit, like I said, perfectly on the bottom of your mouth and the top of your mouth. They shouldn't be resting against your front teeth at all. They shouldn't be resting against any of your teeth. If it does, that means your tongue piercing was either pierced incorrectly or pierced too far forward. Sometimes, like mine, I have a really long tongue web. Also, I have a lot of veins under my tongue. But they were still able to pierce my tongue, and I think their placement was just fine. A lot of people think my tongue piercing is crooked. I don't think so, but I don't know, maybe. But it doesn't bother me because I'm not like sticking my tongue out all the time, so you can't really tell if it's crooked or not. But it doesn't hit my teeth at all. It doesn't hit my teeth when I talk. It shouldn't hit your teeth when you talk if you have your tongue pierced, because if it does, then yes, that will cause teeth damage, that will cause gum recession, it can hurt the enamel on your teeth, and so you really want to be careful with that. But it's not like I'm constantly biting down on it or chewing on it or anything like that. Like, that doesn't make any sense for her to say that, because I shouldn't be chewing on it, I shouldn't be biting on it, it shouldn't be touching my teeth. And so therefore it shouldn't be causing any damage. So I do think I'll be able to keep this tongue piercing in pretty much as long as I want to, because like I said, I don't play with it that often. It doesn't touch my teeth at all. Occasionally I'll bite down on it, but other than that, like, I really don't, like, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother my teeth. I haven't had any problems with it. So I really do think that I could keep it in as long as I wanted to. Really, it just comes down to if I get bored of it or not. But right now, I think I'm going to keep it in for a little while longer. I do want to get my boobs pierced eventually. I think I want to do it later this year. But we'll see. I might do it in like the winter so I can wear like baggy shirts and I don't have to put a bra on, but we'll see. So anyway, another question that I get is, another common thing that happens when you have a tongue piercing is sometimes the balls on your tongue ring will come loose and will come out. And that's not fun. So I've had that happen to me a couple of times. So one time it happened this was when I was in that bad habit of chewing on my tongue bar, and I would just ruin my acrylic tongue bar. So I would like put it in between my teeth and I would like chew on it. And I eventually chewed the whole end off of it. Like, the ball obviously screws onto the acrylic piece, but I chewed it all off. Like, I literally chewed the whole ball off of the end of the acrylic piece with the part that screws into it, and it just like came out of my mouth, and I was like, wow. And that's when I decided that I should stop chewing on my tongue bars. So that happened to me. I don't think I swallowed that one, but it was a weird feeling. And you know, like, if your ball, wow, if your like ball on your tongue ring or your tongue bar, whatever, your piercing bar has come off, you can tell, you can feel it, you know the feeling. And sometimes I've had it happen. I don't know where I was. I think I was working, and I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden, like, I didn't have a ball on my tongue ring, and my tongue ring was like in my mouth. Like, obviously it's in my mouth, but it was like out of my tongue, you know, like inside of my mouth now. And so I was like, cool, that's great. So I was working, so I couldn't go home or anything. So what I did, because the top ball came off, what I did is I took it out, flipped it upside down, stuck it back in, so now I have a ball on the top and not on the bottom. And there's going to be a lot of ball talk, so I'm sorry, but we're going to talk about balls a lot. So I had the ball on the top, so I felt like I had more control of my tongue ring because of, you know, gravity and stuff like that. And so that really helped out. Am I slouching? I'm sorry. But that really helped me out with keeping it in place. And then after work, I went out to dinner, and eating with only one ball in your tongue ring is a challenge. And so, like, I think I ended up like taking out my tongue ring, putting in food, chewing it, sticking my tongue ring back in, because I didn't want to just take it out because I was afraid it would close up, and I didn't want to risk like chewing it and swallowing it, because again, it would probably close up, and also I don't want that like ingested in my body. So I can't remember if I just like chewed weird, I don't know. I probably did a bunch of weird things to make sure that it didn't come out completely and into my food and like down my throat. So that was I think the second time that had happened, where the ball had just come out completely. But that time I had swallowed it. But I mean, it's small, it's not like a big thing that you're swallowing. It shouldn't really like impact you that much, you know. So I wasn't really worried about it, you know. I eat food, poop it out later, you know, no big deal. But that did happen. Another question that I get a lot is, at least on my like tongue piercing video, my original one, is the divot that was in my tongue when I first got it pierced. I'm gonna see if I can try to show you what it looks like now. So that's what my tongue looks like without my tongue piercing. Wow, it feels really weird to talk without this in my mouth. So I'm gonna stick this back in now. So that's what my tongue looks like right now without my piercing in. I'm pretty sure that the like little dip that was there has pretty much gone away. At least I don't really notice it. I don't really pay any attention to it. I think a lot of it was just my tongue was so swollen that it was like swollen to the point where it was pushing against the ball, and so it was creating that divot from all the swelling. But I think once the swelling went down and things started calming down and my, you know, body got used to it, I think it just, you know, cleared up and everything. So I'm not really worried about it. I don't really see, you know, any issues with the tongue divot or anything like that. I don't notice it at all anyway, because I have to look in a mirror and like go like that all the time, and I don't want to do that. So anyway, I'm pretty sure that's fine. It's all solved. I don't know, you can tell me better than I can, or maybe you can see better than I can see through the viewfinder, but I think it's pretty much gone, and if it's not, it doesn't really bother me. I get a lot of like what that mouth do kind of question about my tongue ring, which is something that, you know, I feel like a lot of people get with tongue rings. I think a lot of people think that they're like a very sexual thing. And it can be. I mean, it can be if you want it to be. You know, I'm not saying that they're not sexual, because some people use them for purposes like that, and that's totally fine. I personally obviously didn't get this piercing for that purpose. If you watched my tongue piercing video, you would know that I wanted to get my nipples pierced, but I was indecisive about it, so I got my tongue pierced first because that's, you know, a similar piercing. And then I was gonna, you know, sit out, because I really wanted a piercing, but I didn't know which one I wanted to get. I didn't know if I wanted to get my nipples pierced or if I wanted to get my tongue pierced. So I waited it out, I got my tongue pierced, I, you know, thought about my whole nipple situation, and now I'm to the point where I'm like, okay, I want to get my nipples pierced. But anyway, so I got a tongue piercing in lieu of nipple piercings. So that's what I did. So it wasn't for any like sexual reasons, it wasn't for my boyfriend, it wasn't for any of that. So I mean, I just think they have like a bad rep for being sexual, even though most people don't get them for sexual reasons. And I mean, you know, do what you want to do. If you want to get it because of sex, then go ahead, but that wasn't why I got it. But also, I don't think it really does much in terms of like oral sex, at least for men. I don't know, maybe just for Micah, he's not really like, he doesn't really care either way. So, you know, it wasn't like a big like ooh kind of thing in the bedroom, you know. So he's indifferent about it, I'm indifferent about it, you know. I mean, I like it because it's mine and it's like in my mouth and it's my jewelry. Obviously, if I didn't like it, I would take it out. But in terms of Micah caring or not caring, he doesn't really care either way. So really it's just for me, as it should be, but I enjoy it, I like it, you know. One day maybe I'll get rid of it, maybe not, we'll see. But anyway, so again, a lot of people think that tongue rings are like a sexual thing. They're not, at least not always, but if people get it for that reason, then, you know, good for them. As far as eating things, I can pretty much eat anything that I want to. Nothing really bothers me, nothing really gets hung up like in my tongue piercing or around my tongue bar or anything like that. Nothing really bothers me. Occasionally, like, you know how when you chew like your grandma's gum that's been in her purse for like 2 months and it's like real hard? So you know when you put that gum in your mouth and you're chewing on it and you gotta like crunch it up a little bit, then it gets softer, but then after like a minute of you chewing it, then it gets real like sticky and gooey and like not like gum. It's more like you're chewing on like melted glue or like wax or something. It just gets very sticky, very stringy. Those types of gums really bug me whenever I have my tongue piercing. Those types of gums really bother me, because that's the only thing that really bugs my like tongue bar, is because it gets all wrapped up around it and I literally have to like take the piece of gum out and like pick pieces of gum off of my tongue ring. It is so annoying. So that's the only like food, I guess you could say, that's like bothersome. During like the first few weeks of having my tongue piercing, very hot things or very cold things would kind of irritate my tongue, so I just kind of stayed away from it. Although some people do recommend that you suck on ice to help the swelling. I did do some of that, but I don't know, it was just, I think because of having the metal tongue bar in when I got it pierced, it just made hot things even hotter and cold things even colder, and so I just kind of stayed with a lot of like room temperature foods. I ate a lot of applesauce. If you want to lose weight, that's a great way to start, because you literally just eat like gooey, you're a baby, you eat baby food, like mushy baby food for like the next week or 2 weeks, because your mouth is so sore and your tongue is so swollen that you can't eat anything else. But now I can eat everything. I can eat soups, I can eat ice cream, I ate like a whole Halo Top earlier, and you can just, I don't know, I just feel like it's one of those things where you just got to get used to it. And once you get through the obnoxious healing process and get through getting used to it and getting used to talking with it in and all of that stuff, then everything becomes easier. Spoons are fine, forks are fine, like pretty much like I can eat with chopsticks, I can eat with regular silverware. Nothing bothers me anymore as far as my tongue piercing goes. So if you're thinking that it's going to inhibit you from doing much, only for a little bit, and you know, it's not that bad. Pain level, again, you can refer to my other video for more in-depth detail on like the whole piercing process and all of that, but like I said, it's been a year, so I'm not 100% sure the pain. I don't remember it being bad at all. I really just remember like more pressure than like a sharp pain. So more of like I felt a lot of pressure on my tongue and then it was over. Maybe like a prick kind of feeling and then a lot of pressure, but that was about it. I don't really think that it hurt that much. Also, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm slouching so terribly, but it's because my back hurts and I don't have a back to this stool. I'm literally on a stool. And it's hurting my back, so I'm sorry. But if you do have any other questions about my tongue piercing or about tongue piercings in general, feel free to leave those in the comments below and I will try to answer those. I'm trying to think of anything else. I've never had any issues with it, really. Like, I don't have any infections. I never got an infection with it. I never, you know, the healing process was very smooth, very easy for me. So, you know, it was a good choice, I think. It was a nice piercing to have. I really enjoy having it. My family, not so much, but you know, what can they do? I'm 20, I can make my own freaking decisions. So yeah, that's everything for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up, go down below, subscribe, hit that bell icon to get notified of when I upload videos. Also, don't forget to check out my Twitter and my Instagram. I like to have those in the description for you, but I realize that not a lot of people read the description, so I will try to put them at the end of every video from now on so you guys have that as like a reference. But I mainly use Twitter and Instagram just to update you guys on videos and things like that. Occasionally I'll make a post here and there. I'm not super active on those places, so I'm sorry, but you know, if you do want some updates on videos, you can either follow me there or you can hit the bell icon below and that will notify you of when I post videos. But I'm officially done with summer school, so I hope that I can get back to a normal filming schedule. We'll see. But anyway, I hope you guys have an awesome day and I will see you in the next one. Bye!